Gerald Kuznia. I live in Stephen, Minnesota. I've been a lifelong resident of Stephen. I volunteered for the service in 1966. I had been working at American Crystal Sugar, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life at that time. So the Vietnam War was going on, and I just volunteered for the draft thinking I was probably going to get drafted anyway. So then I went to Warren and Hazel. I was very happy to see us over there at the courthouse. And
who's us?
yeah, Hazel Hurst.
Yeah, but who's us? You said see us.
Oh, Jim Kuznia and I went at the same time, and Laverne Hooper. Laverne Hooper. And after we filled out our papers and things, we got orders to go for the Fargo for a physical. And from there, we all passed. And then we all took basic training in Fort Polk, Louisiana.
How'd you get there?
We went there by bus. By bus.
How long did it take?
It seemed like a long time. I'm not really sure how long it took.
Good day anyway.
Yeah, we got there anyway. So then when we started basic training, I was with Jim Kuznia, Laverne Hooper, Kenny Hagan.
Now we have more than one Jim Kuznia. Which Jim Kuznia is
Okay, I call him Little Jim.
There
Little
you
Jim, not the carpenter Jim, the farmer Jim.
there?
And that went well. We were young. Basic training went pretty good for us. And
Anything in basic training stands out? I mean, did you do gas chambers and?
Oh yeah, I can tell you what, the day we got there was on Thanksgiving Day. We got there at 2 o'clock in the morning. And the drill sergeant was out there, and we were just some young pups, and he said, from the time the first guy goes into this mess hall for your turkey meal, you'll be out of here in 5 minutes. So we were real scared. We ate like animals. We ate like animals because we were very scared. And I think it took me about 3 days to go to the bathroom after that, because I think because we swallowed everything whole. But literally, basic training went pretty good for us. We were pretty young. The thing that stands with us is that they always told us, never make your name known. Just do what you're told. And my neighbor Laverne Hooper didn't do that. So when we would be going out to the rifle ranges with full gear, Laverne always seemed like he was getting into trouble. And he always chuckled. When we were running to the rifle ranges, he was running around our whole formation. So
He was in that good a shape.
Yeah, he was in that good a shape. And my neighbor Kenny Hagan also.
Now, when you say he was told to run around, or he did it?
He was made to run around. Because he had done some screwing up and stuff.
So this guy was nuts.
Yeah. Do you remember Laverne Hooper?
No.
Okay, that's Roger Hooper's, Dwayne Hooper's brother.
Okay.
Anyway, we also took with Kenny Hagan. Kenny Hagan and.
Oh, he was with you too.
Kenny Hagan was in basic training also. So there's probably some things I'm not going to say about Kenny Hagan on here. So anyway, we got through the 8 weeks of basic training, and but in between, I guess we came home for 2 weeks for Christmas vacation. I forgot about that, Christmas vacation. Then we came back. We got through the basic training, and we were Jim Kuznia, Jerome Peters, and myself were sent to AI training in Fort Sam Houston, Texas. So we were all medics.
So that was just a little bus ride over there, I suppose, huh?
No, we came. Yes, I think it was more than a bus ride. I can't remember how long that was. I'm getting to be at that age you start forgetting some of these things. But also there was a Mark Anderson. He actually lived by Florian someplace.
Okay.
And he was a very nice fellow. So he took AIT with us too at Fort Sam, Houston, Texas. So we basically all ended up graduating together from there. And there's always this 1 in a million chance of everybody going to the same place. Jim Kuznia, myself, and Jerome Peters all ended up going to Germany from there. So that was kind of by luck. And
So where did you fly out of when you went to Germany?
New Jersey. We flew out of New Jersey.
Fort Dix?
I wrote that down a little bit.
Must have been Fort Dix, huh?
Yes, Fort Dix, New Jersey. And the medical training was 10 weeks in Fort Sam Houston, Texas.
And all three of you were doing medical
Yep,
to be,
yep.
okay.
And well, as all four of us, Mark Anderson also, but he ended up going to Vietnam. And that was kind of a sad story. He was, we were in Germany and we were, he actually stopped to see my parents before he was being sent to Vietnam, and he didn't last very long. He stepped on a mine in Vietnam.
So he was killed in Vietnam?
Killed in Vietnam. In fact, he is buried in Salem Cemetery, east of Stephen.
Well, he's buried here.
Yes, in Salem.
But he was from Florian, right?
Yeah, in that area, Florian. Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't really know him, but once we got together, basic in AIT, that's when we got to know him. And he was a very nice, quiet, friendly man. I remember when we'd be sitting in the beer lines to get a beer, if he was ahead of us, he'd say, "Come on, step in here." So he was a very, very nice fellow. But anyway, from there, we went to Germany. It was, I think, an 8-hour flight to Germany. Jerome Peters, myself, and Jim Kuznia. So we ended up in Germany for 18 months. The rest of the tour there. We flew into Frankfurt, Germany, and from there they bused us to Baumholder. Baumholder, Germany was kind of on a mountain. And it was always said that if you were going to go any place in Germany, it was probably the worst place to go because of the isolation and the mountains and the snow and all this. But I guess it would probably be a very good place to be compared to where those veterans went to Vietnam. So we were very happy to go there.
So when you were there, did you tour other countries? Or do any of that?
We did get a chance to go. To Austria, to France. I went to England. The one thing that stands out too was when we went to France, you were only supposed to go so and so far on a 3-day pass.
And you three stayed together the whole time?
Yes, we stayed.
And you were medics?
Medics. And
all three medics, all in the same place?
Yep, we were attached to a mechanized infantry unit. So, but when we went to Paris, France, the day that we went home on a Monday, France went into a lockdown. The whole country was shut down. So if we would have, there was some union strike or something going on. So we would have been there. We probably would have been in. Mannheim is where they held soldiers that weren't obeying their orders and stuff. So, but
it's like a stockade.
Stockade.
Okay.
But we did get out, so we weren't supposed to go that far on a 3-day pass, but it turned out okay. So, Jerome Peters, who is in Viking, Minnesota, he got an early out from, I think his dad passed away when he was out there, but he still was into October. We all got out in November. So
you came back to the States, flew back.
We flew back.
Okay, and you flew into
New Jersey also
Back,
again.
back to Fort Dix, and from there you came home right away?
Yeah.
Or?
Then we flew into. Let's see. We flew into. I left Germany and we arrived in the States. And I flew into the cities. They bused us to Moorhead.
So when you were in these airports and stuff, how were you treated? Were the Vietnam War was going on, and a lot of soldiers weren't treated very well. Did you see any of that?
No, surprisingly, I know that we saw in the papers and stuff how the Vietnam veterans were not treated well, but we were never really treated bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And so then from there you flew into probably Grand Forks?
Yeah, went to Moorhead and I stayed with my brother who was in college one night there. And then from there I took the train to Grand Forks. And then my parents picked me up in Grand Forks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what'd you do after you got up?
Then I went into construction and working at the fertilizer plant. And
Who were you working for in construction?
this was Farmers Fertilizer when it was in Stephen. Leopold Kuznia was the manager. And then I had an opportunity to go to Crookston and work for Otter Tail for a year and a half. And they were closing the plant down, but they were having us work there until the new place was available.
Doing what?
Firing boilers,
Okay.
making electricity, and they were opening up a big stone plant, and the people that worked there, it was a very good wages and good benefits, but my dad called and said, we'd like you to come home and farm. So I thought about it a little bit, and I ended up coming home and farming. And it ended up turning out a pretty good place for a family to be raised. And so
how many years did you farm?
I farmed from 1977 till 2016.
2016. And you, after you retired?
I retired. My son is farming, but I'm basically helping him quite a bit. He's a principal and athletic director in Stephen, and I am still driving school bus.
I know him pretty well, and I'm sure you're helping him a lot.
He's a very busy guy. Very
Yeah.
busy guy.
Yeah. So, married, kids?
Oh yes, okay. When we were at Crookston, I married Marilyn Steer, and she was a nurse at the clinic there in Crookston. So she worked, and I drew unemployment for about 6 months before I started at Otter Tail, and then she decided, well, we talked it over about Otter Tail or farm, and well, I guess she thought Otter Tail was a good place to go, but I guess I overruled her on that subject, and I think she was happy that we did come this way too.
It had to be tough trying to steer a woman
Yeah.
to convince her to.
Yep. Oh yes.
I had to say that from her. But
Okay.
going back to your military, and I didn't ask you, what did you get out? What rank were you when you got out?
Okay, I got out. I was a Spec 5.
Spec 5?
Spec 5, Specialist 5. So we, our coverage as far as a medic was probably accidents, and we gave coverage to the infantry when they went out into the field, and then there was it was people that tried committing suicide and some of those kinds of things that were in there. So it basically a first aid. We gave shots and stuff like that, but in Germany it was nothing to compare to the soldiers that had to go to Vietnam.
So how do you view your time in the service? Is it something that was good for you, or?
For my part, it was very good. It was very good. You learned to take orders. I know there was some guys that weren't so good at taking orders, and they didn't end up staying in too long. It's a learning experience for a young guy to take the orders and do what you're told, even though if you sometimes you knew probably it was the wrong thing, but you still obeyed.
Right. And is there anything you want to add to it, or?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Kind of puts you on the spot.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Well, Jerry, I thank you for doing this interview, and I thank you for your service to your country. Thank you.
Thank you for asking.